Vincent announced the divorce over dinner, our dinner table. The one we'd bought at an estate sale in 20, back when he was still flipping houses instead of selling them. He'd brought Brittany with him, introduced her as his business consultant. She had yoga pants on, and a smile that didn't reach anywhere that mattered. Alexis, Vincent said, using the voice he saved for closing deals. Brittany's gonna be staying in the guest room, just until we figure things out. I was holding the serving spoon for the roasted chicken. Tyler was across from me, 15 years old, and looking at his phone like maybe if he stared hard enough he could disappear into it. Okay, I said. Vincent's jaw did that thing, that little tightening thing when something didn't go the way he'd scripted it. He'd been expecting a scene, tears maybe, thrown dishes, something he could use later to explain why the marriage failed. I set the serving spoon down and went back to the kitchen for the green beans. Behind me, I heard Brittany whisper, "That went better than you thought." Vincent wanted everything. The house, the cars, the business he'd built on my unpaid bookkeeping. He wanted Tyler too, or at least the idea of Tyler, the son who'd think he was the good guy. He had no idea what everything actually meant. I'd known for 5 years, I just hadn't told him yet. Brittany's boxes arrived on a Saturday, white ones with chrome handles, the kind from Container Store that cost more than they should. 9 of them, stacked in our driveway, like she was moving into a college dorm. I was folding laundry when they carried the first load past the bedroom window. Tyler's gym shirt had a stain on the collar, pasta sauce from Tuesday. I'd gotten most of it out, but the ghost of it remained, if you knew where to look. I knew where to look. They laughed about something on the stairs. Her laugh was light, young, the kind that doesn't know what a mortgage payment feels like. Vincent's was his open house laugh, the one he practiced. Tyler came down at 10, still half asleep. He stopped in the kitchen doorway, looked at the boxes now lining the hallway upstairs, looked at me. "Dad's girlfriend is moving in?" he asked. I was matching socks. Tyler had 14 singles in his drawer, socks that had lost their partners in the dryer over the years. I kept them anyway, kept thinking maybe the missing ones would turn up. "Guest room," I said. Temporarily. Tyler got a bowl of cereal, ate it standing at the counter, scrolling his phone. Vincent and Brittany were in the master bedroom, our bedroom, the one where I'd packed his hospital bag when Tyler was born. "This is so fucked up," Tyler said. I didn't correct his language. The papers came on a Tuesday, FedEx signature required. I signed for them at the door while Brittany made coffee in my kitchen, wearing one of Vincent's old Stanford shirts. I took the envelope to the dining room table and opened it. Petitioner, Vincent James Mercer. Respondent, Alexis Marie Dunst. The asset division was laid out like a real estate listing. The house, $1.1 million estimated value. The cars, 2022 BMW X5, 2021 Tesla Model 3. Vincent Mercer Real Estate LLC, valued at $600,000. My proposed share, $50,000 cash settlement. Custody, joint legal primary physical with Vincent, standard visitation schedule for me. I read it twice, set it down. Went back to the kitchen, where I'd been making Tyler's lunch for school tomorrow. Turkey sandwich, apple slices, the good chips he liked. Brittany was sitting at the counter with her coffee, scrolling her phone. "Is that the divorce stuff?" she asked. Friendly, like we were friends. "Yes," I said. "Vincent says he's being really fair," she said. Considering. I didn't ask considering what. Just kept cutting the apple into slices the way Tyler liked them, thin enough to fit in the container, but thick enough they didn't turn brown too fast. "He built that business from nothing," Brittany continued, "before he met you. And I'd been doing the bookkeeping for Vincent Mercer Real Estate LLC since 2012. Invoicing, accounts payable, accounts receivable, ex-prep. I'd kept us paid when his vision was bigger than his cash flow. Kept the lights on. Kept the business afloat. I'd done it for free because that's what you did for family." I said. Brittany smiled. "I think you're handling this really maturely." I put Tyler's lunch in the fridge, went upstairs to my office, the small bedroom that used to be storage. My filing cabinet was against the wall. 3 drawers. The bottom drawer had a folder labeled Separate Property, Inheritance, and inside were statements from Pacific Trust Bank, the bank my mother had used. The account she'd left me when she died in 2015. Balance, $340,000. Never deposited in our joint accounts. Never touched. Vincent had forgotten it existed. Thought I'd spent it on the kitchen remodel in 2016. I hadn't spent $1 of it. The middle drawer had a folder labeled Tyler Future, 29. Inside were trust documents. A irrevocable educational trust created May 2019, funded with $340,000 from my inheritance. Beneficiary, Tyler James Mercer. Trustee, Pacific Trust Bank. Vincent had never seen these papers. I closed the drawers and went back downstairs. That afternoon, I met Diane for coffee. We'd been friends since Tyler was 2, back when we met at Mommy and Me classes at the rec center. She'd been there through everything: Vincent's business struggles, my mother's death, Tyler's broken arm in 4th grade. She was already at our usual booth when I arrived. She had her phone face down on the table. "How are you holding up?" she asked. "I'm okay." Vincent told Brad you're being really reasonable about the split. Brad was her husband. He golfed with Vincent. I stirred sugar into my coffee. Diane's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, flipped it back over. "The custody thing must be hard," she said. I hadn't told her about the custody proposal yet. The papers had arrived that morning. "It is what it is," I said. Her phone buzzed again. She picked it up this time, typed something fast, set it back down. "Sorry," she said. "Work stuff." Diane worked part-time at a dental office. It was Tuesday at 2:30. The office closed at noon on Tuesdays. I drank my coffee. It was too hot, but I drank it anyway. "So the mediation is next Thursday?" Diane asked. I set my cup down carefully. I hadn't told her about the mediation. It wasn't scheduled yet. Vincent's lawyer had mentioned it in the papers as a possibility. "Probably," I said. Diane smiled. "I'm here if you need anything." I nodded. Her phone buzzed a third time. This time I saw the name on the screen before she flipped it over: Vincent. That night, Tyler came home and went straight upstairs. I made spaghetti, his favorite, but he didn't come down when I called him for dinner. I went up and knocked on his door. "I'm not hungry," he said through the door. "Did you eat?" Dad took me to In-N-Out. Vincent didn't eat In-N-Out, said it was beneath him. But Brittany probably did. I went back downstairs, put the spaghetti in containers. The pot, the colander, the wooden spoon. I washed them until the water scalded my hands. Vincent came home at 9. He stood in the kitchen doorway, watching me dry dishes. "We should talk about the settlement," he said. "Okay. I think I'm being more than fair." I put the last dish away. "If you say so." "You get $50,000 and a fresh start," he said. "No debt, no responsibility. Some women would kill for that." I folded the dish towel, hung it on the oven handle the way I'd been doing for 15 years. "You're right," I said. He looked confused again, like he'd prepared for a fight and I kept refusing to show up for it. "So we're good?" he asked. "We're good," he nodded, went upstairs. I stood in the kitchen, listening to his footsteps overhead. Then Brittany's lighter ones, then laughter. Let him have his victory lap. I'd been doing math he couldn't even spell. 5 years earlier, January 2019, the mortgage payment bounced at 2:30 in the morning. I was reconciling the business accounts because Vincent had asked me to pull numbers for tax prep. He was in Phoenix, or maybe it was Denver. Some real estate conference. He went to 4 or 5 a year. The notification popped up on the screen. Insufficient funds. Payment returned. Our house account. The one with auto pay for the mortgage. The account Vincent managed because he said I didn't understand interest rates. I logged in. Balance: $238.47. Our mortgage was $4,200 a month. I sat there staring at the screen. The laptop was old, an HP we'd bought in 2014. The fan was loud. It filled up the quiet of the house, while Tyler slept down the hall and Vincent slept in some hotel ballroom 1,500 miles away. I opened another tab, the HELOC account, home equity line of credit. We'd taken it out 2 years earlier. Vincent said it was for business expansion, upgrading the office, maybe hiring another agent. The balance was supposed to be around $200,000. It was $672,000. I clicked refresh. Same number. My hands found the coffee cup. Cold. I'd made it at midnight and forgotten to drink it. Another tab. Another account. Credit card. Amex. 4720. Credit card. Chase. 3140. Business line of credit. $340,000. SBA loan I'd never seen before. $280,000. I opened the documents folder on the desktop. Found the loan applications. The SBA loan was from 2017. Vincent's signature. His income listed as $240,000. Our actual income that year had been $127,000. In the business files, I found a folder labeled Office Lease, Millerton. Opened it. Lease agreement. 1-bedroom apartment. 847 Skewford. $150 a month. Renter, Brittany Schaefer. Lease start date, March 2018. Guarantor, Vincent Mercer, March 2018. I'd met Brittany for the first time 6 months ago, in July. Vincent had introduced her as a new marketing consultant. Said they'd met at a Chamber of Commerce mixer. The apartment lease was 2.5 years old. I looked at the clock. 3:17 a.m. Vincent would be home tomorrow. Would walk in with his conference smile, in his rolling suitcase, and probably a gift for Tyler, some t-shirt from whatever city he'd been in. I opened a new folder on the desktop, labeled it Tyler College Fund 2020, started taking screenshots. Click, save. Bank statements showing the progression of the HELOC from $180,000 to $672,000 over 18 months. Credit card statements with charges at restaurants I'd never been to, hotels in cities Vincent had never mentioned. The apartment lease with Brittany's name and Vincent's guarantee. Business loan documents with inflated income numbers. Personal loan applications I'd never signed. By 5 a.m., I had 127 screenshots, organized by category and subfolders: mortgages, credit, business, personal, other. Total liabilities, if I added everything up, $237,000. Total assets, if we liquidated everything, maybe only $400,000 if the market was good. We were underwater by almost $1 million. I closed the laptop. The room was still dark. The neighbor's porch light made a yellow square on the wall through the gap in the curtains. They'd left it on every night for years. I used to find it annoying. Now it felt like the only steady thing. Vincent's car pulled into the driveway at 6:15. I heard him trying to be quiet, heard the garage door, his footsteps on the stairs. He smelled wrong when he got into bed. Different shampoo, different soap. I kept my breathing slow and even. He was asleep in 4 minutes. I know because I counted his breaths. At 7, Tyler's alarm went off. I got up and made breakfast. Scrambled eggs, toast, orange juice. Tyler came down half asleep, sat at the counter scrolling his phone. "Dad back?" he asked. "Yeah." Still sleeping. Tyler ate without talking. He was 10 years old, still young enough to accept the surface of things. "You okay, Mom?" he asked. "I'm fine." He looked at me like he didn't quite believe me, but he was 10 and didn't have the tools to push deeper. He finished his eggs, and I drove him to school. When I got back, Vincent was in the shower. I opened the laptop again, cleared the browser history, opened a new window, typed, "How to protect inheritance before divorce." Read for 30 minutes, then typed, "Irrevocable trust separate property." Read for another hour. My mother had died in 2015, left me $340,000 from the sale of her house. I'd deposited it at Pacific Trust Bank, the bank she'd used, in an account with only my name. I'd never moved it to our joint accounts. Vincent had asked about it once in 2016. I told him I was using it for the kitchen remodel. The kitchen remodel had cost $38,000. I'd paid for it from our joint account. The inheritance was still sitting at Pacific Trust, untouched. 3 weeks later, I was sitting in Tom Bradshaw's office. He was maybe 60. Family law attorney, office that smelled like old paper and too much air conditioning. "How long have you known?" he asked. 3 weeks. "Have you confronted your husband?" "No." He set his pen down. It was a cheap Bic. "Why not?" I looked at the water stains on his conference table. Someone's old case, probably. Someone else's marriage, ending in this same room. Because I want to know what I can protect before he knows I know. Tom leaned back in his chair. It squeaked. "Smart," he said. I didn't feel smart. I felt like I was standing on ice that kept making cracking sounds. "I have an inheritance," I said. $340,000, kept it separate, never mixed it with joint accounts. My son's 10. I want to make sure he has something. Tom wrote that down. "We can set up an irrevocable trust," he said. "Your son's the beneficiary. As long as you never commingled those funds with marital assets, it's separate property. Won't touch the divorce." "And the debt?" I asked. "What debt?" I pulled out a folder. The printed screenshots organized by type. "About $2 million, I said. "Personal guarantees on business loans, second mortgages, credit cards. My husband has personally guaranteed almost everything." Tom went through the papers. His face didn't change, but his pen moved faster. "Does he know you know?" "No." "Don't tell him." "Why?" He looked up at me. "Because in a divorce, assets and liabilities get divided. If he wants the business, the house, the cars, let him have them, along with everything attached to them." "What you mean?" "I mean, if he takes assets with personal guarantees attached, and his lawyer doesn't catch what that means." Tom shrugged. "That's on his lawyer." I sat there. The air conditioning hummed. "Is that legal?" "If it's structured correctly in the settlement agreement, yes. Asset and liability distribution. Standard language. If his attorney doesn't read carefully..." He tapped the papers. "These personal guarantees are public record. It's his lawyer's job to catch this." I thought about Vincent, about Brittany's name on a lease dated 2 years before he claimed they met, about coming home smelling like different shampoo, about Tyler, 10 years old, eating eggs and asking if I was okay. "Set up the trust," I said. I walked out of Tom's office with a folder full of papers and instructions. The trust would take 6 weeks to finalize. I'd fund it with my inheritance, all $340,000. Tyler's future would be protected, no matter what happened to the marriage. I drove home, made dinner. Vincent came in at 7, kissed Tyler on the head, barely looked at me. "How was your day?" he asked, not waiting for an answer. "Fine," I said. He was already looking at his phone. That night, after Tyler went to bed, I sat at my laptop and opened the folder labeled Tyler College Fund 2020, and I gave him 5 years, to be honest. He chose roses and hotels instead. Present day, February 2024, Tyler stopped coming down for breakfast. He'd take a protein bar from the pantry, Brittany's protein bars, the ones she kept stocked, and eat it in his room. Some mornings I'd hear him laughing at something on his phone. Vincent's voice through the wall, probably a video. I still made his lunch, still put it in the fridge with his name on it. He stopped taking it. Dad says I can just get lunch at school, he told me one morning when I asked. Dad says, that was new. It used to be just Dad, or sometimes my dad when he was talking to friends. Now it was Dad says, like Vincent was some kind of authority on everything. Okay, I said. Tyler looked at me, 15 years old, tall now, his father's eyes. Why aren't you fighting this? Fighting what? The divorce, the custody thing. Dad says you just accepted everything. I was loading the dishwasher. A glass with Brittany's lipstick on the rim. I rinsed it twice. Your dad and I agreed this was best, I said. He says you're being mature about it. Tyler stood there for another minute, waiting for me to say something else. When I didn't, he went back upstairs. I moved out in March. Not because Vincent asked me to. Because the lawyer, my lawyer, Tom, said it would look better if I had my own place established before the custody evaluation. I found a 2-bedroom apartment in the same school district. First floor, quiet complex. I took the furniture Vincent didn't want, the IKEA desk from 2011, the couch his mother had given us, the kitchen table from the estate sale. Tyler's room had a bed, a desk, a dresser. I bought new sheets, put up his posters from the old house, Marvel movies, a couple of bands I didn't know. He came for his first overnight on a Wednesday, brought his backpack, his phone charger, sat on the couch, and looked around like he was visiting someone else's relative. This is nice, he said, polite, distant. Your room's down the hall, I said, on the right. He went and looked, came back. Thanks. We ordered pizza, ate it mostly in silence. Tyler was on his phone. Dad says the mediation is next month, he said. There it was again. Dad says, probably. And he says you'll probably get the apartment and some money. He feels bad you won't have much. Oh, and I picked at my pizza crust. That's nice of him. Tyler looked up. Do you even care? About what? About any of this. You act like it doesn't even matter. I set my pizza down, looked at my 15-year-old son, who thought his mother was just accepting defeat, who didn't know about the trust fund with his name on it, $340, 1,000, waiting for college, and whatever came after. Who didn't know I'd been protecting him since he was 10. It matters, I said. Then why aren't you fighting? Because I already won, I thought, 5 years ago. I just haven't told anyone yet. Eat your pizza, I said. Tyler went back to Vincent's house the next morning, said he had a project he needed to work on, had to use the computer there. We had a computer. He just didn't want to stay. The next Wednesday, he texted that he couldn't come over. Homework. The Wednesday after that, he was sick. The Wednesday after that, Vincent had gotten him tickets to a basketball game. By April, I was eating dinner alone in my apartment 4 nights a week. I saw Diane one more time before the mediation. Same coffee shop, same booth. Her phone was face up on the table this time. She wasn't hiding it anymore. How's the apartment? She asked. Fine. Brad says Vincent's doing really well. The business is picking up. Brad would know. He and Vincent golfed every Sunday now. Had for months. That's good, I said. Diane's phone lit up. A text from Vincent. She say anything? Diane picked up her phone fast, but I'd already seen it. Excuse me a sec, she said. Typed something, set the phone back down. I stirred my coffee. It was already cold. Diane, I said, how long have you been telling Vincent what I say in these meetings? Her face did something, a little collapse, like a mask slipping. I don't know what you mean. Your phone, I can see the texts. She looked at her phone, then at me. For a second I thought she might apologize, might explain, might give me something that resembled the 12 years of friendship we'd had. Instead, she said, he asked me to keep an eye on you, to make sure you were okay. To make sure I wasn't planning anything. Diane's jaw set. You're making this harder than it needs to be. Vincent's trying to be fair. He just wants to make sure you're being honest in the mediation. Honest. He said you've been acting strange, distant. He's worried you might be hiding assets or something. I laughed. Couldn't help it. The sound came out wrong, sharp. What's funny? Diane asked. Nothing. I stood up, left a 5 on the table for my coffee. Thanks for the heads up. Alexis? It's fine, I said. Really. I walked out. Diane didn't follow. In my car, I sat for a minute, hands on the steering wheel. 12 years of friendship, Tyler's birthday parties, my mother's funeral. Every hard moment I'd had, Diane had been there. And she'd been reporting back to Vincent the whole time. I started the car. They thought I was isolated, alone. They thought taking away my friend, my son, my home would break me down. They didn't understand. I was just done explaining myself. That night, I opened the filing cabinet in my apartment, same cabinet from the old house, the one that had followed me here. Bottom drawer, folder labeled Tyler Future 2019. Trust documents, irrevocable educational trust. Beneficiary, Tyler James Mercer. Current value, $340,000. He'd get it when he turned 18. Whether he was speaking to me or not, I closed the drawer. The mediation was in 2 weeks. Vincent had no idea what he was about to sign. Tom's office still smelled like old paper and air conditioning 5 years later. "You ready for this?" he asked. I sat across from him in the same chair I'd sat in back in 2019. Same water stains on the conference table, same squeaky chair. I think so. Tom had Vincent's proposed settlement in front of him, the one his lawyer had sent over last week. He'd marked it up in red pen. "He wants the house, both cars, the business, and all business accounts," Tom said. "He's offering you $50,000 cash in your Honda." "I know. He's also asking for primary physical custody. You'd get Tyler every other weekend and one weeknight." I didn't say anything. "Alexis," Tom leaned forward. "You're Tyler's mother. You could fight this. Get 50-50 custody at minimum. The house is marital property. You're entitled to half the equity. The business, you did the bookkeeping for 12 years. A judge would consider that sweat equity." "I know. And so why are you accepting this?" I pulled a folder from my bag, set it on the table between us. Tom opened it. Inside were the screenshots from 2019, updated with current balances. The debt had grown. First mortgage, $875,000. HELOC, $672,000. Business line of credit, $340,000. SBA loan, $280,000. House and equipment financing, $145,000. Credit cards, $94,000. Auto loans, $78,000. Tom's pen moved down the list. "Jesus," he said quietly. "He's personally guaranteed everything," I said. "The business loans, the credit lines, all of it. Small business owner, so the banks made him sign personal guarantees to get the funding." Tom looked at the numbers again. "And he wants to take the business in the settlement, and the house, and the cars. Which means he takes all the debt attached to them." Tom sat back. The chair squeaked. "You've had this information since 2019. "Yes." "And you never told him you knew?" No." "Why?" I thought about that. About 5 years of making lunches Tyler stopped eating. 5 years of watching Vincent come home late smelling like someone else's shampoo. 5 years of Diane asking careful questions over coffee and reporting back. "Because," I said, "I wanted to make sure Tyler was protected first, and I wanted Vincent to choose this himself." Tom tapped the papers. "His lawyer should catch this. The personal guarantees are public record. Any competent attorney would pull a credit report, check the UCC filings." "His lawyer is 33 years old," I said. "Vincent picked him because he's aggressive, hungry, not because he's careful. You know this how?" "Vincent told Tyler. Tyler told me." Tom almost smiled. "So you want to structure the settlement as asset-liability pairing. In standard language?" "Completely standard. Party A receives these assets. Party A assumes all liabilities associated with these assets. It's in every property settlement agreement. And if Vincent's lawyer doesn't read carefully enough to understand what associated liabilities means, that's on Vincent's lawyer," Tom finished. "Not on us. We have a duty to our client, you. We don't have a duty to educate the opposing party about their own bad decisions." "So it's legal." It's standard contract law. He's signing a binding agreement. If he doesn't read it, if his lawyer doesn't catch it, that's not our problem." I looked at the folder on the table. 5 years of screenshots. 5 years of silence. "There's one more thing," I said. "What?" "I need to look defeated, broken. Like I'm just accepting this because I can't fight anymore." Tom studied me. "You've been planning this for a long time. Since 2019. And you never wavered, never thought about confronting him." I thought about Tyler at 10 years old, asking if I was okay. Tyler at 15 telling me, "Dad says you're being mature about it." "No," I said. I never wavered. We spent the next 2 hours going over the settlement agreement. Tom had drafted it carefully. Standard language. Nothing unusual, nothing that would raise red flags. Section 4. Asset distribution Vincent James Mercer shall receive. Primary residence located at 847 Maple Drive, 2022 BMW X5 2021 Tesla Model 3 Vincent Mercer Real Estate LLC 100% ownership interest. All business bank accounts and receivables, office equipment and furnishings. Section 5. Liability distribution Vincent James Mercer shall assume all mortgages, liens, and encumbrances on 847 Maple Drive. All outstanding auto loans, on vehicles received, all business debts and obligations of Vincent Mercer Real Estate, LLC, all personal guarantees executed by Vincent James Mercer related to business operations or marital assets. Alexis Marie Dunst shall assume personal credit card, Capital One, current balance approx. $3,200 auto loan on 2019 Honda CR-V, current balance approx. $8,000. That last line, Tom said, pointing. All personal guarantees related to business operations. That's the key. Will they catch it? They should. But if they're rushing, if they're cocky, if they think they're getting everything they want, he shrugged. People see what they expect to see. We scheduled the mediation for April 14th, 2 weeks away. Between now and then, Tom said, you need to sell this. Act tired, defeated, maybe cry a little. I don't think I can cry on command. You don't have to fake it, Tom said quietly. This is costing you something real. Your son, your home, your marriage. Even if you're protecting yourself, it still hurts. He was right. It did hurt. Just not the way Vincent expected it to. I practiced in my apartment that night, sat at the kitchen table, and imagined the mediation room. Vincent across from me, his lawyer, Jason something, young guy with good teeth and an expensive watch. Brittany probably waiting outside. What would I say when they pushed the papers across the table? What would my face do? When Vincent's lawyer listed everything I was losing, I got up, made tea, I didn't drink, sat back down. The filing cabinet was in my bedroom now. Same 3 drawers. I didn't open it. Didn't need to. I'd memorized what was inside. Tyler's trust, $340,000. My separate IRA, $87,000. My new apartment lease, down $200 a month. Manageable on what I'd make from the settlement and part-time work. Tyler would be fine. I would be fine. Vincent would sign papers giving himself almost $2 million in debt and think he'd won. The night before mediation, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, in my new apartment, listening to the neighbor's TV through the wall, some late-night show, canned laughter. Tomorrow, Vincent would sit across from me, and I'd have to look him in the eye and accept $50,000 and every other weekend custody and act like I was just too tired to fight. Tomorrow, I'd have to watch Diane's face. She'd probably be there, supporting Vincent, and pretend I didn't know she'd been feeding him information for months. Tomorrow, I'd sign papers that would make Vincent think he'd gotten everything while I'd gotten scraps, and I'd have to make it believable. The TV went quiet next door. The clock said 2:47 a.m. I got up, made coffee, sat at the kitchen table with the settlement agreement Tom had given me to review one more time. Section 5, Liability Distribution. All personal guarantees executed by Vincent James Mercer. 3 words that meant almost $2 million. I drank my coffee. Vincent wanted to win so badly he forgot to read the fine print. The mediation was in a conference room at Tom's law firm. Neutral territory. Gray carpet, generic art on the walls, a table that seated 8. Vincent was already there when I arrived. His lawyer, Jason Bradshaw, no relation to Tom, was setting up papers at one end. Vincent sat next to him, wearing his best suit, the navy one he saved for closings over $1 million. Brittany was in the waiting room. I'd seen her when I came in, scrolling her phone, her hand on Vincent's arm for just a second before they separated. The mediator was a woman named Sarah Chen, late 50s, reading glasses on a chain, the patient expression of someone who'd sat through 1,000 of these. Let's begin, she said. Tom sat next to me. Under the table, he'd placed a box of tissues within reach. I hadn't asked him to do that. Jason started. My client has been more than generous in this settlement, Ms. Dunst will receive $50,000 in cash, her vehicle, and joint legal custody of the minor child. In exchange, Mr. Mercer will assume all marital property and associated financial obligations. Associated financial obligations, Sarah repeated, making a note. The mortgages, car loans, standard marital debt, Jason said, waved a hand like it was nothing. Tom didn't say anything. Jason pushed a copy of the settlement across the table to me. We believe this is more than fair, given that Mr. Mercer built his business prior to and during the marriage, while Ms. Dunst provided support. 12 years of bookkeeping, 12 years of keeping his business afloat while he spent money we didn't have. I looked down at the papers. Section 4, Asset Distribution. Everything Vincent wanted listed neatly. Section 5, Liability Distribution. Everything Vincent didn't know he was taking. Alexis, Sarah said gently, do you want to respond? I looked up. Vincent was watching me, waiting for me to fight, expecting tears or anger or some last desperate negotiation. I just want this to be over, I said. My voice came out exactly the way I'd practiced, tired, defeated. Vincent's shoulders relaxed slightly. Ms. Dunst, Jason said. You understand you're giving up any claim to the marital residence? A property valued at over $1 million. I understand. And you're agreeing to a custody arrangement that gives Mr. Mercer primary physical custody? I had to look away for that one. Looked at the generic landscape painting on the wall, some mountains, some trees. Tyler's 15, I said. He should have a say in where he lives. And he's chosen to live primarily with his father? Yes. That part was true. That part hurt. Sarah pushed the tissue box slightly closer to me. Ms. Dunst has her own counsel, Tom said calmly. We've reviewed the settlement thoroughly. My client is agreeing to these terms, with full knowledge of what she's accepting and what she's waiving. Jason nodded. And Mr. Mercer is accepting all liabilities associated with the assets he's receiving. That's clearly stated in Section 5. It is, Tom agreed. Jason didn't seem to hear anything unusual in that, just kept going. The business debt, the mortgages, the car loans, all of that transfers to Mr. Mercer as part of the asset distribution. Standard stuff. Standard, Tom echoed. Sarah looked between us. Mr. Mercer, you understand you're assuming these financial obligations? Vincent nodded. I built that business. I'll handle the debt that comes with it. And you've reviewed the specific liabilities listed in Section 5. My lawyers reviewed everything, Vincent said, confident, almost bored. Jason flipped through the pages. All mortgages and liens on the property, that's the first, and the HELOC, total about $1.5 million. Auto loans, about $78,000. Business line of credit, SBA loan, equipment financing. All standard business debt that stays with the business. And the personal guarantees? Sarah asked. Jason blinked. Personal guarantees? Section 5, paragraph 3, Sarah read. All personal guarantees executed by Vincent James Mercer related to business operations or marital assets. Jason looked at the document. Right. That's just the standard language for business debt. The LLC provides liability protection. But yes, small business owners typically personally guarantee loans. And so Mr. Mercer is personally liable for these business debts? Sarah asked. In the technical sense, Jason said. But the business is profitable. The assets exceed the liabilities. Tom still didn't say anything. I knew what he knew. The business had $600,000 in receivables and assets, if you were generous with the valuation. The business debts Vincent had personally guaranteed totaled $765,000. The house was worth maybe $1. $1 million. The mortgages totaled $1,400,000. The cars were worth $65,000. The loans were $78,000. Vincent was about to sign an agreement accepting $1,765,000 in assets and $20,990,000 in personal liability. Net negative $625,000. And Jason either hadn't done the math or assumed the LLC would protect Vincent. It wouldn't. Ms. Dunst, Sarah said, turning to me. Is there anything you'd like to add? Or any changes you'd like to request? This was the moment. The moment I could speak up, could tell Vincent what he was really signing, could save him from himself. I looked at him, really looked at him. The husband I'd had for 15 years, the father of my son. The man who'd brought another woman into our bed and told our friends I was just too tired to fight for what was mine. No, I said. I think $50,000 is fair. You're certain? Sarah asked. I nodded. Tom pulled out a pen, set it in front of me. Vincent's pen was already out, a Mont Blanc, the one I'd given him for his 40th birthday. He signed first. Fast, confident strokes. Then Jason signed as witness, then Sarah. Then Tom slid the papers to me. I picked up the pen. My hand shook just a little. That wasn't an act. I signed. Alexis Marie Dunst, the name I'd had before I married Vincent. The name I'd get back in 6 weeks when the divorce was final. Congratulations, Sarah said quietly. You're both legally bound to this agreement. The court will review and finalize in 30 days. Vincent stood, offered his hand across the table. I looked at it, shook it. His grip was firm, victorious. Thank you for being reasonable about this, he said. You too, I said. Outside the building, Vincent and Jason were talking by Vincent's BMW. Brittany had come down from the waiting room. She had her hand on Vincent's arm again, smiling up at him. Tom and I stood by my Honda. You did good, Tom said. I feel sick. That's normal. You just signed away your house. I signed away a house with $600,000 more in debt than it's worth. And Vincent signed that, not you. I watched Vincent laugh at something Jason said. Watched him put his arm around Brittany. Watched him get into his BMW, $60,000 car, with a $78,000 loan attached to it. He has no idea, I said. He will in 30 days, Tom said, when his lawyer files the paperwork with the court and actually reads what he signed. Will he try to fight it? He can try, but he signed a binding agreement with legal counsel present. Courts don't like to overturn that, especially when the language is clear. I got in my car. Tom leaned down to the window. Alexis, you protected yourself and your son. That's not wrong. I nodded. Didn't trust my voice. Drove back to my apartment and sat in the parking lot for 20 minutes. I'd walked out of that room $50,000 richer. Vincent had walked out 1.9 million poorer. He just didn't know it yet. 30 days. That's how long it took for Vincent's world to start caving in. I was at work when Tom called. I'd gotten a part-time job doing bookkeeping for a small accounting firm. Nothing fancy, 20 hours a week. Enough to pay rent and groceries while the settlement money sat in the bank. Judge signed off, Tom said. It's final. Okay. Vincent's lawyer just called my office 3 times. Well, what did he say? He didn't talk to me, left messages, said it was urgent, called me a few things I won't repeat. I sat back in my chair. The office was quiet, just me and 2 other bookkeepers, both wearing headphones. When did he figure it out? I asked. Probably when he filed the settlement agreement with the court and actually read Section 5 carefully, or when he ran the numbers and realized what all personal guarantees actually means. Is there anything he can do? He can file a motion to set aside the agreement, but he'd have to prove fraud, duress, or that Vincent didn't have adequate legal representation. None of that applies here, so it's over. The divorce is final. The debt is Vincent's, unless he declares bankruptcy. Will he? Tom was quiet for a second. Probably, eventually, but that takes time, and bankruptcy doesn't make everything disappear. Vincent called me that night. I was making dinner, pasta, the same recipe I used to make for Tyler. Force of habit. I was only cooking for one now. My phone rang. Vincent's name on the screen. I let it ring 3 times before answering. Alexis. His voice was tight, controlled, the voice he used when a deal was falling apart and he needed to stay calm. Hey. You knew. I turned off the stove, set the spoon down. Knew what? Don't. He stopped. I heard him breathing. The debt, all of it. The mortgages, the business loans, you knew. You signed the agreement, I said. You fucking knew. For how long? 5 years. The silence on his end was complete. 5 years, he repeated finally. You knew for 5 years that the business was underwater. Yes. And you didn't tell me? No. Why? I looked at the pasta in the pot. It was overcooked now. Mushy. You were busy, what I said. With Brittany, with the apartment you leased for her in 2018. 2 years before you told me you met her. Another silence. How did you... I did the bookkeeping, Vincent. I saw everything. Jesus Christ. His voice broke on the second word. Alexis, this is almost $2 million. The bank is calling. My lawyer says the personal guarantees mean I'm liable even if the business goes under. He says, he should have caught that before you signed. He says you trapped me. And I accepted the settlement your lawyer proposed. Standard asset liability distribution. If your lawyer didn't read it carefully, that's not my fault. This is going to ruin me. Yes, I said. Probably. You planned this. The whole thing. The quiet act, the letting me take everything, you planned it. I protected my son, I said. And myself. Tyler's trust fund. That's your inheritance, isn't it? The money you said you spent on the kitchen. Tyler will have $340,000 when he turns 18. For college. For whatever he needs. You signed away any claim to that when you signed the settlement? I'll fight this, Vincent said. I'll take you back to court. You can try, I said. But you signed a binding agreement with a lawyer present. And the personal guarantees, those are public record. Your lawyer should have known what he was signing you up for. Vincent was quiet again. I gave you 5 years, I said. 5 years to tell me the truth about the debt, about Brittany, about any of it. So this is revenge. This is me making sure Tyler has a future. This is me not drowning with you. Tyler's going to hate you when he finds out. Maybe. Probably. That's his choice, I said. I hung up. The bank letters started arriving at Vincent's house 2 weeks later. I know, because Tyler told me. He called for the first time in a month. Mom, what's happening? What do you mean? Dad's freaking out. There are all these letters from the bank. Something about the mortgage being in default. Something about personal liability. He says you knew about this. I sat down. Tyler, did you know he was in debt? Yes. For how long? 5 years. Tyler didn't say anything for a long time. I could hear Vincent in the background, his voice raised, talking to someone on the phone. Why didn't you tell him? Tyler asked finally. Because he lied to me first. About the debt. About Brittany. About a lot of things. So you just... What? Let him think everything was fine while you planned this? I protected you, I said. I made sure you'd have money for college. I made sure you'd be okay no matter what happened to me and your father. By destroying him? By not letting him destroy me. Tyler was crying. I could hear it in his voice. I don't know who you are anymore, he said. I'm the same person I've always been, I said. I'm just the person you're seeing for the first time. He hung up. 3 weeks after that, Tom called again. Brittany left him. How do you know? Vincent's lawyer told my paralegal. Apparently Vincent called Jason crying. Brittany moved out, took her stuff, blocked his number. I didn't feel anything about that. Should have, maybe. Felt something. The business is in default, Tom continued. The banks are calling the loans. He's got about 60 days before they start foreclosure proceedings on the house. And Tyler, still with Vincent for now, but that might change when Vincent loses the house. Has he filed for bankruptcy yet? Not yet. Jason's advising him to. Chapter 7, probably. It'll discharge most of the unsecured debt. The mortgages, though, those he can't discharge. He'll have to surrender the property. So he'll lose the house. Yes. I looked out the window of my apartment. The neighbor's porch light was on. Different neighbor, different porch, same yellow light. Tom? Yeah? Did I do the right thing? He didn't answer right away. You did the legal thing, he said finally. Whether it was the right thing, that's not for me to say. The judge's signature made it official. The settlement was binding. Vincent had won everything. The house, the car. Car's the business. And the $2 million in debt that came with it. He'd gotten exactly what he asked for. The first employee to lose his job called me by mistake. Eddie Ramos. He'd been with Vincent since 2014. Office manager, handled showings, coordinated with inspectors. Good guy. Always remembered Tyler's birthday. Alexis? His voice was confused. Why is your number listed as the emergency contact for payroll? Because I used to do the payroll, I said. What's wrong? Vincent just let me go. Said the business is shutting down. My last check bounced. I sat down at my kitchen table. When did he tell you? Today. Called everyone into the office this morning. 8 people. All gone. I'm sorry, Eddie. He said it was because of the divorce. Said you took him for everything. I didn't correct him. There might be a lag on the payroll system, what I said. Give it a few days. If the check still doesn't clear, file a wage claim with the labor board. Yeah, okay. He paused. For what it's worth, I always thought you got screwed in that divorce. You kept that place running for years. And after he hung up, I sat there looking at my phone. 8 people. 8 families. Because Vincent had been living beyond his means for years and no one had stopped him, because I'd stopped warning him 5 years ago. Tyler called 2 days later. Dad lost his job. He said it flat, factual. He didn't lose his job. He closed the business. He said he had to because of the debt, because you made him take it. I didn't make him do anything. He signed the settlement agreement his lawyer wrote. But you knew. You knew he'd lose everything. I got up, started pacing my small living room. 12 steps one direction, 12 steps back. Tyler, your father had almost $2 million in debt before we ever filed for divorce. He's been living on borrowed money for years. I didn't create that debt. I just didn't cover for it anymore. And yet, you could have told him. You could have warned him. I gave him 5 years to tell me himself. He chose not to. Oh. So this is like punishment? This is what happens when you spend money you don't have and lie about it. Tyler was quiet. Dad says we have to move out of the house. Says the bank is taking it. Probably. Where are we supposed to go? That stopped me. What do you mean, where are you supposed to go? Dad's looking at apartments, small ones. He says he can't afford anything else. Tyler, you can live here. You know that. With you, I'm your mother. You're the person who destroyed my dad. The words hit exactly where he meant them to. Okay, I said quietly. When you're ready to talk, I'm here. I hung up before he could. Diane moved to Ohio in June. I only know because her sister posted about it on Facebook. Photos of Diane loading a U-Haul, her sister's arm around her shoulder. She never called to say goodbye. I thought about texting her. Decided against it. We'd said everything we needed to say in that coffee shop. Or maybe we'd never said anything real at all. Vincent filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy in August. Tom called to let me know. It's public record. Figured you'd want to hear it from me. What does that mean for him? Means he's wiping out the unsecured debt. The credit cards, the personal loans, the business line of credit, and probably about $400,000. And the mortgages? Those are secured debt. Can't discharge them in Chapter 7. He'll surrender the house. The bank will foreclose, sell it at auction. Whatever they get won't cover what's owed, but that's not Vincent's problem once he surrenders the title. So he's free of it. Free of most of it. His credit will be destroyed for 7 to 10 years. He can't get a business loan, probably can't even rent a decent apartment. But he's not personally on the hook for $2 million anymore. I should have felt something. Victory, maybe. Or regret. I just felt tired. What about the business? I asked. Dissolved. The LLC is dead. Employees all let go. Office lease terminated. And Vincent? Last I heard, he's working sales at a car dealership, $45,000 a year. He's living in a studio apartment in Millerton, the same town where he'd kept an apartment for Brittany. Tyler came to my apartment on a Tuesday in September. I opened the door, and he was standing there with a duffel bag. Taller than I remembered. Thinner. Dad's place only has one bedroom, he said. I'm sleeping on the couch. Your room's still here, I said. He came in, didn't look at me, went straight to his room and closed the door. I stood in the hallway for a minute, then went back to the kitchen. An hour later, he came out. I found something, he said. He had his phone out, showed me a screenshot. It was from Facebook, a post from Eddie Ramos. 15 years at VMRE, good run. Thanks to Alexis Mercer for keeping us paid when times were tight. You were the backbone of that place, even if you never got credit. Tyler looked at me. Is that true? I did the bookkeeping. Did you keep them paid when Dad couldn't? I sat down at the table. Sometimes the business account would run short. I'd cover payroll from our personal account until clients paid their invoices. Did Dad know? He knew money was tight. He didn't ask where I got the money to make it work. Tyler sat down across from me. He told me you were jealous, Tyler said. That you couldn't stand that he was successful. That you took everything because you were bitter. What do you think? I think... He stopped, started again. I found the apartment lease. The one for Brittany, from 2018. How did you find that? Dad left boxes at my room, his stuff from the office. I was looking for an old photo, and I found the lease. Okay. He lied to me. He said they met in 2022, but the lease was from 2018. Yes. They were together for 4 years before the divorce? At least. And Tyler put his head in his hands. I've been such an asshole to you. You're 15. You believed your dad. I should have believed you. You weren't ready to. He looked up. His eyes were red. I'm sorry. I know. Can I stay here? Like, really stay? Not just weekends? This is your home, Tyler. It's always been your home. He nodded, wiped his face with his sleeve. Mom? Yeah? The trust fund. Eddie mentioned something about a college fund. Is that real? I got up, went to my bedroom, came back with the folder from the filing cabinet, set it in front of him. $340,000. It's yours when you turn 18. For college. For whatever you need. It's protected. Your father can't touch it. Creditors can't touch it. It's yours. Tyler opened the folder, read the first page of the trust documents. You did this in 2019? Yes. That was before Dad even asked for the divorce. I did it after I found out about the debt. I wanted to make sure you'd be okay no matter what happened. Tyler was crying again. I told you I didn't know who you were anymore. You were angry. I was wrong. He looked at me. You protected me, even when I hated you for it. I reached across the table, put my hand over his. That's what mothers do, I said. Vincent wanted the empire. He got the ashes. And Tyler got the truth, eventually. I started the bookkeeping firm in October, nothing fancy. Dunst Accounting Services, just me, working from home, taking on small business clients who needed someone to manage their books but couldn't afford a full accounting firm. My first client was a woman who ran a bakery. She paid me $300 a month to reconcile her accounts and file her quarterly taxes. My second client was a contractor who'd been doing his own books in a spiral notebook and had no idea if he was making money. By December, I had 5 clients. By February, 9. It wasn't Vincent's empire. It was enough. Tyler was doing better. He'd switched schools, stayed in district, but transferred to avoid questions about his dad's business collapse. Made new friends. Kept his grades up. He was seeing a therapist. Court ordered, after the custody modification, I'd filed for primary custody in September, and Vincent hadn't contested. Couldn't afford a lawyer to fight it. The therapist's name was Dr. Morgan. She was good. Tyler actually talked to her. She asked about you today, Tyler said one night over dinner. Yeah? Asked if I was angry with you for the divorce thing. I set my fork down. What did you tell her? That I was, for a while. He pushed rice around his plate. She asked if I still was. Are you? I don't know, sometimes. Not because of the money thing. Because you didn't tell me what was happening. I couldn't. Why not? I thought about how to explain it. Because you were 10 when I found out. Then 12. Then 15. And the whole time you loved your dad. You looked up to him. If I'd told you he was lying, that he was in debt, that he was having an affair. What would that have done to you? It would have hurt. Exactly. And I stopped. I couldn't be the person who destroyed that for you. I couldn't make you choose. So I waited until it fell apart on its own, until your dad's choices caught up with him. Tyler was quiet for a long time. Dr. Morgan says you were protecting me. I was. But it still feels like lying. It was lying, I said, by omission. I made a choice to keep information from you because I thought it would hurt you less. Maybe I was wrong. Were you? I looked at my son, 16 now, taller than me, growing into a person I was just starting to know again. I don't know, I said honestly. Would it have been better if I'd told you at 10, at 12? Would you have believed me? Tyler thought about it. No, probably not. I would have thought you were just jealous. Or mean. Right. So you waited until I could see it myself. I waited until the truth was obvious enough you couldn't ignore it. He nodded slowly. That's pretty fucked up. Yeah, it is. But I get it. The trust fund statement came in March, 2 months before Tyler's 18th birthday. It arrived in a thick envelope from Pacific Trust Bank. I heard Tyler open it in his room. He came out holding the papers. $340,000, he read. Current balance, $362,812.43. It's been earning interest, I said. This is real? It's real. And Dad has no claim to it? None. It's funded from my inheritance. Separate property, protected by the trust structure. It's yours. Tyler sat down on the couch, stared at the statement. I can go anywhere, he said quietly. For college. Anywhere. Yes. You did this when I was 10. And I did this when I found out your father was lying to me about our financial situation. I wanted to make sure you'd have options. A future. Even though you knew Dad would lose everything. I didn't know that for sure. I just knew I needed to protect you from whatever was coming. Tyler looked up at me. You're kind of a badass, Mom. I laughed. Couldn't help it. I'm really not. You are, though. You planned this whole thing for 8 years, and you never told anyone. Tom knew, my lawyer, but not me, not Tyler, not even Dad until it was too late. I told you when you were ready to hear it. He was quiet again, looking at the statement. There's a picture, he said finally, in one of Dad's boxes, from when the business opened. You're in it. The ribbon cutting? Yeah, you're standing next to Dad. He's holding scissors and smiling at the camera. You're holding the ledger. I remember that day, 2012, Vincent's dream coming true. Our dream, I'd thought then. I was doing the books from day one, I said. He's taking credit for it in the photo, but you're the one holding the actual work. What? That's not... It is, though. Tyler set the statement down. He built the business, but you kept it running, and he never said thank you. He just expected it. Tyler. And then when it all fell apart, he blamed you, told everyone you destroyed him, but you didn't. You just stopped catching him when he jumped. I didn't know what to say to that. Dr. Morgan says I'm working through complicated grief, Tyler said. Grieving the dad I thought I had. Grieving the family I thought we were. That's hard. Yeah, he looked at me. But I'm also figuring out who you actually are. Not the mom who just made lunches and did laundry. The person who protected me even when I didn't know I needed it. I'm still the person who makes lunches and does laundry. You're more than that, though. Maybe I was. Maybe I'd always been more than that and just never let myself see it. Vincent called once in April. I didn't recognize the number. Answered anyway. Alexis. His voice sounded older, tired. I need to talk to you about Tyler's graduation. What about it? I want to come. Be there. But I don't know if he wants me there. You should ask him, not me. I tried. He's not answering my calls. I sat down. Vincent, I can't fix your relationship with your son. I know. He stopped. I fucked up. I know that. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm just asking if you think he'll let me come to his graduation. I think Tyler's old enough to make that decision himself. Keep trying. Okay. He paused. How is he? He's good. He got into UC Berkeley. Full ride mostly. The trust fund will cover what the scholarship doesn't. That's good. I'm glad he'll be okay. He will be. Another pause. Alexis, don't, I said. Just don't. I was going to say thank you for protecting him. I didn't expect that. I protected myself, I said. Tyler was part of that. Still, he has a future because of you. I didn't know what to say. I have to go, I said finally. Yeah, Okay. Thanks. He hung up. I sat there holding the phone for a long time. Tyler asked me one night, in May, a week before graduation, "Are you happy?" We were doing dishes. He was washing. I was drying. The same routine we'd fallen into in this apartment. "Happy?" I repeated. "Yeah. Like, with how things turned out, with your life now." I thought about it. About my small apartment with furniture from estate sales and IKEA. About my 9 bookkeeping clients who paid me just enough to cover rent and groceries. About Tyler's trust fund that would send him to Berkeley in the fall. About Vincent working at a car dealership and living in a studio. About 15 years of marriage that ended in a mediation room with papers I'd spent 5 years planning. "I don't know if I'm happy," I said honestly. "But I'm free, and that's better." Tyler nodded, handed me another plate to dry. "Yeah," he said, "that makes sense." 6 months later, November 2024, Tyler split his time at first. Weekends at Vincent's studio apartment in Millerton. Weeknights with me. That was the court order anyway. But by November, Tyler was spending more nights at my apartment. His stuff migrated slowly, clothes, textbooks, his gaming console. His room at Vincent's was just a sleeping bag on the floor and a duffel of clothes he never bothered to unpack. "Dad's place is depressing," Tyler said one night. "What do you mean?" "It's just empty. He works all day at the dealership, comes home, eats something from a box, watches TV, doesn't talk much." And I was folding laundry, Tyler's socks. He still lost them regularly, but at least now he bought his own replacements. "Is he okay?" I asked. "I don't know. He says he's fine." Tyler paused. "He says you destroyed him." I set down the shirt I was folding. "What did you say?" "I said you didn't. I said he destroyed himself." I looked at my son, 17 years old. "When did he get so tall? When did he start seeing things clearly?" "How did he respond?" I asked. Got quiet, changed the subject. Tyler grabbed his phone. "He's not a bad person, Mom. He fucked up a lot for a long time." "I know." "Do you hate him?" Did I? I'd spent 5 years planning how to protect myself from him. 5 years documenting his lies. 5 years waiting for the moment he'd sign papers accepting debt he didn't understand. "No," I said finally. "I don't hate him. I just don't trust him. There's a difference." Tyler nodded. "Doctor, Morgan says I can love him and still be angry with him, that both things can be true." "They can." "She says the same thing about you." That surprised me. "You're angry with me?" "Sometimes. For not telling me sooner, for letting me think you were the bad guy for so long." He looked at me. "But I love you more than I'm angry, and I get why you did it." I had to look away, blink a few times. "You're growing up," I said. "Yeah, kinda have to." The college acceptance came in December. Tyler opened the email on his laptop, then just sat there staring at it. "Mom," I came over. Read the screen over his shoulder. "Dear Tyler, congratulations. On behalf of the admissions committee, I am delighted to offer you admission to the University of California, Berkeley." "You did it," I said. "I did it." He scrolled down. "Full tuition scholarship, plus a grant for housing. That's amazing. The trust fund, I'll barely need to touch it. Save it for grad school, or for whatever comes after." Tyler closed the laptop, turned around in his chair. "Can I show Dad?" "Of course. You don't need my permission to share good news with your father. Would it be weird? He's not paying for any of it." "Tyler, he's still your dad. He'll want to know." Tyler called Vincent that night. I could hear him from the kitchen. "Yeah, Berkeley. Full ride mostly. The trust fund will cover the rest." "No, Mom set it up years ago. From her inheritance?" "Yeah, okay. Thanks, Dad." When he came out, he looked thoughtful. "He said congratulations," Tyler said. "Said he was proud of me." "Good." Then he asked if I knew how much was in the trust. What did you tell him?" "The truth. 360,000. He got really quiet, and I kept washing dishes." "He asked when you set it up," Tyler continued. "I told him 2019. He said..." Tyler stopped. "What?" "He said, of course she did. Like, I don't know. Like he just realized something." I dried my hands. "Your father is a lot of things. Stupid isn't one of them. He's figured out by now that I knew what was coming." Does that bother you, that he knows you planned it?" "No, it doesn't matter anymore what he knows." The text came on a Tuesday in late December. I was at my desk working on year-end books for the bakery client when my phone lit up. Unknown number. I almost didn't open it. "This is Vincent. Got a new phone. Just wanted to say, I hope it was worth it. Hope you're happy with what you got." I read it twice. Thought about responding. Thought about saying, "I got my son's future secured. I got my freedom. I got to stop drowning. Yes, it was worth it." Thought about saying, "You could have been honest 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You chose not to be. Thought about saying, I'm not happy, but I'm alive. And that's more than I had when I was married to you. Instead, I set the phone down, went back to my work. The text sat there unanswered. Tyler came home that night with pizza. We'd fallen into a routine. Tuesday night was pizza night. His choice. Dad texted you? He asked. How did you know? He texted me too, said he reached out to you. What did he say to you? Tyler pulled out his phone, read from the screen. Tell your mom I hope she sleeps well at night. I closed my eyes. What did you say back? I asked. I said she does, better than she did when she was married to you. Tyler looked at me. Was that okay? Yeah, I said. That was okay. We ate pizza, watched a movie Tyler picked. Something with superheroes. When he went to bed, I sat in the kitchen with the lights off. Vincent's text was still on my phone. I deleted it, blocked the number. Justice doesn't always feel like winning. Sometimes it just feels like breathing again, like being able to sleep through the night without counting someone else's breaths to see if they're pretending, like making dinner for two instead of scraping 3 plates into the trash, like knowing your son's future is secure even if his relationship with you is still healing, like freedom. I'd take it. 2.5 years later, June 2027, the graduation was outdoors. High school football field, 300 folding chairs set up in rows, June sun beating down on everything. I got there early, found a seat in the middle, about 20 rows back. Vincent arrived 15 minutes before it started. I saw him scanning the crowd, looking for somewhere to sit. He'd lost weight, hair grayer at the temples, wearing a suit that looked new, probably bought for this. Our eyes met across the rows of chairs. He nodded. I nodded back. He sat on the far side, about 10 rows ahead, close enough to see Tyler walk across the stage. Far enough that we wouldn't have to talk. Tyler's name was called third from last, Tyler James Mercer. He walked across the stage in his cap and gown, shook the principal's hand, took his diploma. From where I sat, I could see him smiling. Vincent stood to take a photo. So did I. Tyler saw us both. Waved once, general direction, then kept walking. The valedictorian speech came after the diploma distribution. A girl named Sarah Martinez. She talked about resilience, about unexpected paths, about learning who you are when things fall apart. Then Tyler stood up. I didn't know he was speaking. He hadn't mentioned it. I'm Tyler Mercer, he said into the microphone. I'm not valedictorian, but they let me say a few words because I asked nicely and because Mr. Patterson owed me a favor. And the crowd laughed. I want to thank my parents, Tyler said. Both of them, for different lessons. And I saw Vincent's shoulders tense. My dad taught me how to dream big, how to take risks, how to believe in yourself even when the odds don't look good. Tyler paused. My mom taught me how to be careful, how to protect what matters, how to survive when the risks don't pay off. He looked out at the crowd, found me, found Vincent. I needed both of those lessons, he said, even if I didn't know it at the time. After the ceremony, Tyler found me in the parking lot, hugged me, long and tight. I'm proud of you, I said. Thanks, Mom. Berkeley's lucky to have you. He pulled back. Dad's here. I'm going to go talk to him. Is that okay? Of course it's okay. He's your father. I'll see you at home later. I'll be there. I watched Tyler jog across the parking lot to where Vincent stood by an old Corolla, not the BMW, not the Tesla, just a 10-year-old Toyota. They hugged. Awkward but real. Vincent said something. Tyler laughed. I got in my car. I drove past the old house on the way home. Hadn't planned to. It was just on the route. There was a swing set in the yard now, a different car in the driveway. Someone else's life happening behind those windows where mine used to be. I didn't feel angry, didn't feel sad, just distant, like looking at a photograph of someone you used to know. I kept driving. At home, I put my purse down, made tea, sat at my desk. The filing cabinet was still there. Same 3 drawers, same folders inside. I didn't open it. Tyler's trust, empty now. He'd transferred the money to his own account last month. $362,000 for college, for life, for whatever came next. My separate IRA, still growing. Retirement someday? Not yet. The screenshots from 2019, still there, probably. I hadn't looked at them in years. I opened the window. Spring air, someone mowing a lawn somewhere nearby. Birds. On my desk was a folder from a new client. Small restaurant, needs help with their books. I opened it. Started reading. Some victories don't come with parades. Some don't come with apologies or reconciliation or neat endings. Some just come with silence and a door that finally locks from the inside.